Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Listen, you put eggnog already in your coffee. You about to, wow. Can y'all wait till the 24th at least? Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody. Hit the like button, please, and thank you. Have some manners and hit the like button, please, and thank you. We live. Let me let the people know that we live now. We live now. Welcome, everybody. Cheers. Listen, y'all know whatever time you guys start drinking, just as long as you're not drinking and driving and doing the most, staying safe, being with family. Welcome, everybody. Everybody, we live now. Get in here. Not get in there, get in here now. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Yo, let me tell you guys what happened yesterday, right? So you know how we got to like an 8 or 10 minute conversation. Kool-Aid, thank you so much for the Christmas gift. I got it. Shout out to you, Kool-Aid. Thank you. Baby Bunny's gonna love. Thank you. Non-alcoholic. You're like non-alcoholic. Yo, let me tell y'all something, okay? So I'm gonna keep it cute. But the people be trying it. The people just, but I'm in the holiday spirit, and listen, just because you're in the holiday spirit doesn't mean that you can give the people a piece of your mind. You don't have to hold back. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that. I have realized that people are going to be people no matter what, right? Regardless of what day of the week it is. So we were having a long conversation yesterday, right? I think it was like 8 or 10 minutes of our conversation was about ADHD. And somebody really, really smart came in the comments that was like, well, you can tell that you have ADHD because it takes you forever to get to the point. And even though they're absolutely right, I still was like, you do realize that it was me and the audience. We were all talking with each other about how we have ADHD and it takes us a minute to get where we're going. But it was kind of like the tone. It's like, this is why I can't really watch your videos sometimes, because it takes you a minute. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching this one, because clearly all I need is 30 seconds of a view and the girl gets paid. Okay. So please note that. We still get the ads. Please note that. Always be respectful to others. My daughter has ADHD and autism. Tell them, and it takes us a minute. I had to cough. And let me say something. And I'm the most impatient person as well. So it's funny because I can be understanding of my ADHD, but not other people. So let me just say this. I get it. Sometimes it takes me a while to land the plane, and the plane will get there at some point. But, I literally have an hour and maybe 20 minutes to talk to you guys. There's some stuff going around, by the way. And so for me, I take advantage of this to really just kind of kick it with you guys, joke around, bond, and have a good time. Like, even though some of these topics are very rough, and we know it, right? And that's okay. So please note that, yes, it takes me a minute, but I'm well aware of the time. So I have to kind of keep it going. And sometimes we just got to transition and just, let's go. Let's go. But anyways, shout out to everybody, and shout out to those that support my channel. ADHD or not, medicated or not, we are still here today. We are still, and God willing, we'll be here tomorrow. Okay. Even though they try to take us down and they try to shut us up and do all kinds of things. But no, I said no. Okay. And as long as God gives me a voice to speak, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep speaking. Okay. Till I can't no more. All right, guys. Welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Listen, we're going to get started right away now that we are a couple minutes in. Hopefully people got the notifications. If you didn't, that's okay. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to the people, Mrs. Faye. There's a lot of people out there that replay us. I've seen a lot of comments that say, Rabbit, I'm about to have my muffin and I'm about to watch you. So let's go. Shout out to the replay people, because y'all, first of all, you keep us watching. Shout out to the people that hit the like button and the hype button. I really appreciate that. It does help support the channel. Sometimes support just looks like hitting the like, engaging, and hyping. That's all it looks like. Okay, but let's get it together. So there was this video, all right, of a Nickelodeon actor that's been going viral. Actually, I've been watching it all weekend, right? And in my mind, I'm like, all right, so everybody's coming together and we've heard stories about how horrible Nickelodeon is. Quiet on Set has really highlighted that. We have some, Nickelodeon stars here on YouTube that really do a job about highlighting the abuses of, their experiences on Nickelodeon and being a child star and whatnot. We understand just how crazy it is, right? And the people that, have gone through abuse, the adults that have been around this, that have been, I wouldn't necessarily say that they have been, we've seen the aftermath of that, right? Everybody has a say to what's been going on. So Amanda Bynes is another one, right? Amanda Bynes is another one. There's a bunch of people. People have shared their thoughts. So there was a viral video of a Nickelodeon actor. I believe his name is Tylor Chase. Now, let me tell you guys something. I didn't, growing up, I didn't have cable. We were, and I've shared this before, right? I am that kid that we waited for a snowy day. Can you get up here? Hold up. I don't know why it's not sharing. We waited for a snowy day in order for us to get a little bit of cable. You know how you would like connect the plug, and the cable will magically appear. And I believe that's against the law. I'm not confessing to anything. But when I was a kid, that's how we got cable. Anytime there was a snowy day, you'd connect the cable and, you might see a couple of Nickelodeon shows here and there. So I saw this. Now, the first person that I saw speak on this was Sloan on Instagram. And I didn't know who this actor was or anything, but I guess he was in a show called Ned Declassified. Put a one in the chat if you are a child or if you watch some of those, not a child, but if you watch some of these shows, let me know. But apparently he's been struggling with homelessness and mental illness. And now you have all these people that are coming through trying to support him. Okay. And it's interesting because there's just so much happening, right? Between the Nick Reiner situation. Now here you have this young, and I would say, I think he's in his 30s. I'd still say he's pretty young. His family is also basically interjecting and telling people not to help him because they've tried to help him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let's watch this.
In this viral clip of former Nickelodeon child star Tylor Chase, who's best known for playing Martin Quirley on the show Ned's Declassified. Let me explain to you guys a little bit about what's going on in his current situation. Like I said, Tylor starred in the show Ned's Declassified. He was on there from the years 2004 through 2007. But right now he's currently 36 years old and we don't know much about his life after the show. But this recent viral video of Tylor took place in Riverside, California, where it seems like he is struggling with mental illness, possibly addiction and homelessness. But this wasn't the first time that he has been spotted this year. This is some footage that went viral from September, where you can see Tylor is still, again, dealing with homelessness, and it got a little bit of attention. Not as viral as this recent video, but that video from September did get enough attention to where people created a GoFundMe page, and they started to raise money for Tylor. That is when Tylor's mother...
Yo, you see that? Like, what he looked like as a child? Like the innocence of that child there to where we're at right now. You always kind of have to wonder, like, man, he was just a cute little kid, so cute. And then here we are, struggling with what he's struggling with.
Chimed in, and she gave a statement to The Sun at the time because she wanted the GoFundMe shut down. She says that Tylor needs medical attention, not money, but he refuses it. I appreciate your effort, but money would not benefit him. I have gotten him several phones, but he loses them within a day or two. He can't manage money for his meds by himself. And it turns out he is suffering from bipolar disorder untreated. Another sad story of a child star who did not have the support they needed after their show ended. But when this clip went viral in September, some of his former co-stars actually chimed in and gave their thoughts on their podcast.
Wow. There was some bad news that I received earlier this week. Our dear friend Tylor Chase. I feel powerless because I feel like there's not much I can do. I didn't want to believe it at first. I was like, oh, they just caught him at a bad...
No one really knows what to do in this situation, and it's heartbreaking. Kind of reminds me of another Nickelodeon star who we see out about. This photo was actually taken last week of Amanda Bynes, but shout out to all those child stars out there. It must be really difficult. And I hope that Tylor can find some peace and healing. Have you guys...
So I'm gonna tell y'all something. Amanda Bynes, I think it's a different situation, right? Amanda Bynes, in my opinion, seems like she is somebody that is settled in terms of like, if she's doing fine in life, whatever it is that she wants to do, that's her choice, right? But this is a good example of what happens no matter what kind of a child. So, I mean, Amanda Bynes, I remember her very well, right? And there were so many shows, and she was, um, she had a lot of connections. And there's people that still talk about her as if she's, lost something. But I'm gonna tell you guys something. I feel like Amanda Bynes is settled in what she has picked out for her life. She seems like she's okay. She seems like she's away from all of this. Mind you, we saw a lot of her stuff play out. They try to do different things to her. So I have to kind of wonder, where do you guys stand overall? I mean, what do you do in a situation like this? Here you have, in Tylor's case, you have a family member that's saying like, hey, I don't, a family member saying like, y'all don't need to help him. Like, we've tried. And now you have all of these, and I'll be honest with you, you got these former Nickelodeon stars, former co-stars that are coming out and they're saying, well, I'm here to support. I'm here for him. Like, here's this one. Ned Declassified star Devin speaks out on Tylor Chase living on the streets. There's people out there speaking out regarding Tylor's situation. But are they speaking out right now because they feel it like they need to speak out? Or are they speaking out because this is viral? That's what I want to know. Like that's the thing that I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe I'm a bit, what's the word? Maybe cynical. But y'all didn't come together before this went viral. This young man has been homeless for a while, right? Clearly people have reached out to the family. Are you guys those that have been co-hosts and co-stars? And I know that this sounds mean, but I'm being very honest. Are they coming out right now because it's viral and I got to go help out a friend? Or did y'all just not check in on each other? And I'm not saying it's their responsibility to check in, but let's keep it a bean, right? Like let's keep it a buck. Are they checking in out of concern, or are they using this moment out of clout? It's trending. Am I wrong for saying that? Maybe they just didn't keep up with each other and didn't realize like this is what's going on. But when I hear Sloan talking about this is not the first time that they've seen this man, or, in the situation that they're in, and they try to check in with him and try to donate. And mom was like, no, no, no. And so now this is trending near the holiday season. And so now they're checking in out of concern. There's this saying in Mexico that they say, sometimes, and I'm sure people have heard this before, people don't bring flowers to people when they're gone. Okay. Bring flowers to people when they're alive, when they're living. You know what I mean? And you're absolutely right. This is another one. You can only help so much. You have to set boundaries with addicts. 1000% agree with this one. That's so hard. I have addicts in my family, and I completely understand what you're saying, that you said something is amiss, right? Don't you think this is interesting that so near and close to the Reiner situation, right? The saying in Mexico goes like this: don't bring flowers. Bring flowers to the people when they're living, not when they're dead, right? Because that's really like, people do that, right? Out of respect, but honor the people when they're living right now, and when they're in your vicinity. Take care of them when they're in your vicinity when you can, right? That's what you're supposed to do, not when they're gone. And so that's the thing that I really like. I look at this and I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody's been knowing that this young man has been homeless. They were all co-hosts. And I get what he said over there in that clip where he's like, what are we supposed to do? That's a real question, because what are you supposed to do? But this to me is the equivalent of, let me give you a handout while the cameras are rolling. This is giving Mr. Beast to me. This is giving viral moment at that time. And I'm going to do this while these cameras are going. Because I promise you, come February, are people going to keep track of this? What are they going to do? Or are we just using this to just grow clout? Period. You never know anybody's agenda, right? And to be quite honest, I still believe, and this is part of research, and this is part of my own viewing and my own struggling, of my own families. Honestly, people have to want to step into a rehab and want to do better. So I do have to wonder, because it sounds like family has done a lot. They give him phones, they give him money. What's going on? But y'all literally wait for this man to go viral, to come out of the woodworks. I don't know. It's giving a Mr. Beast moment. It really is. That's just how I see it. You said, okay, I'm pretty sure his co-host had seen him earlier this year and didn't record it because he knew it would only do harm for him. Those are the real people who care for him. Perfect. Okay, then that is absolutely fine. And I truly hope that they, continue to care for him without it being trending or it going viral. You know what I mean? You said Miley Cyrus was a huge child star, went bonkers, and just came out alive and well, and she's doing great. Well, Miley Cyrus has a really, really, contentious relationship with her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. Now, for the longest time, I remember Billy Ray Cyrus, right? Was he in that doctor show? And he was just so wholesome. Like, I think my mama had a crush on Billy Ray Cyrus, honestly. Just saying, because he was like this wholesome kind of dad. And then you found out that he was Miley Cyrus' dad, and they had this little wholesome situation. And then something happened where, what's that one song? Where she wore that one costume with the bear, and then Nicki Minaj got on the microphone and said, "What's good, Miley?" And then there was that beef. Lord have mercy. I think that was 2008. That takes me back because I think I watched that. That VMA Awards was like epic. That whole VMA Awards. Anyways, but where was I going with this? They did a really good job in portraying themselves to be a very wholesome family until they're not, right? Now you got the situation where Billy Ray Cyrus is like cheating and doing the most and yada, yada, yada. And they don't even have a relationship with their dad. And I mean, every family goes through something, right? But it's interesting when you, what is it? The Wizard of Oz? Look behind the curtain and what is it that you see? Regular people. The only difference is that they got a little bit of money. Problems can be exacerbated. You might have a lot of money, but your problems can be like tenfold or more if you can't control it. And even with all that money, that's how it is. You said it's actually pretty effed up California law because some of these people need to be forced into getting medications. It's heartbreaking to witness. I don't know. I'm on the fence about a lot of stuff pertaining to forcing anybody to anything. Part of it is because it doesn't work. That's just how I see it. To me, y'all remember that Fox reporter that went viral in the year? Honestly, that Fox reporter who said he kind of gave that Lima Yaremovich feeling earlier in the year, and he still has his job. He didn't lose his job. He said, there were so many people that were homeless out there. We have to do something about the homeless population. If they don't want to get treatment, euthanize them. He said euthanize the homeless population. That's what he said. He said if people don't want to get treatment, they should be euthanized. Euthanize. Out of all the words he could have said, I mean, out of it, because I've heard, incarcerate people. Out of all the words, then I heard the word euthanize come out of this Fox reporter, and I literally lost my shit. And he still has a job. It happened earlier. Put a one in the chat if you guys watched that. It was literally, and I thought, I was like, is this real? This man really said that people should be euthanized if they don't want to get help? Huh? So we just gonna be euthanizing people willy-nilly? Hold up. I'll show y'all. I'm not making this up. I literally did a short on it. Look at this. Here it is. Fox News anchor who has figured out how to help and fix the homeless problem. Involuntary lethal injections. There you go. If they don't want to get any help, just hear this out. His own words.
They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
That's right. Just get rid of them. Get rid of them. Just kill them. I have a feeling. I hate to put this out here, y'all, especially around this time, but we're not too far off. Honestly, we are not too far off where we're going to have a situation where it's like The Purge. Y'all seen that movie? Watch it be real life in a couple years, okay? Because we're normalizing that about human life. Where we've normalized that conversation, right? instead of looking at the fact that, how can we do things a little bit better? What does it mean? You can't force people into things. That's the problem that I have with the idea that we're forcing people into things that they're not really ready for. Just euthanize them. Lethal injection. Just the way that he said. Y'all see how quickly he said that? No apologies. No. I mean, he was like, well, I have my own opinions, but the man didn't lose his job for saying that, right? Just want to show y'all like how crazy it's become. But it's become normalized. And that's why I'll never forget when The Purge came out, and I know people were like, well, it's just a movie. I'm like, I don't know, man. People just say this is just a movie, but somebody came up with that concept and idea and thought that it was okay. And we're just not too far off that at all. But anyways, so let's get into this news, right? So people, of course, are definitely using this as an opportunity for clout, in my opinion. But hopefully that's not always the case. Hopefully once this dies down and it's not viral, people are actually going to be around to actually help out. Ex-Nickelodeon star Nicholas, I'm sorry, I was looking at another name, Tylor Chase, refusing help from police while living on the streets. Now, this is, of course, TMZ. This is what they reported. He's best known for his role as Martin, Martin, we're going to call him Martin, in Nickelodeon's Ned Declassified School Survival Guide. Y'all, I didn't watch the show. This is just, it's over my time. I was not around, or at least I wasn't into Nickelodeon like that. He's living on the streets in California and refusing any treatment at all, treatment options, according to police. So mom has said this, police has said this, right? And there was a public information officer who also reported on this, telling TMZ that officers are very familiar with Chase and interact with him at least once a week. And the officers have a specialized outreach division that regularly engages with unhoused individuals, offering mental health services, drugs, and alcohol treatment, and temporary shelter. We're told police have provided Tylor with countless offers, but he continuously turns them down. Ultimately, it's his choice whether to receive housing or treatment. This is how it is. While some unhoused individuals meet officers with anger or hostility, we're told Tylor is cooperative and always cordial. Can you imagine if you have somebody that is not meeting you with any kind of hostility, and he's just like, I'm good. Like I'm not ready to get clean. And then your idea is to figure out how to get them clean, is to euthanize them or lethal injection because they're not going to get clean. Something's not making sense about this, but I'm just letting you know what it's looking like now and how people are normalizing that language. The former Nickelodeon star has recently gone viral after multiple videos show him disheveled on the streets. In fact, police made Tylor aware of the viral videos, and he apparently has no issues. It's worth noting that Tylor is not wanted for any crimes. He doesn't have a criminal background, and police have not spoken with his family. Okay? So people are aware of what is going on. I mean, there's a huge homeless population in Hawaii too. I don't know if y'all know that. Huge homeless population. And people, honestly, they choose to go home. There's a choice there too. Like they like being homeless in Hawaii. Sleep outside next to the ocean. I've met a lot of homelessness in Hawaii, believe it or not. There's something about the ocean and sleeping outside, and people take care of each other there. There's a huge homeless community. It's a beautiful island. There's a lot of tourism, but there's a lot of homelessness out there as well. So the fact that he doesn't want to get clean rise a red flag. Gotcha. You said the only show I'd watch similar to this one or around the time of iCarly. Okay, iCarly I'm familiar with. I think my brother had a crush on iCarly for like the longest time. So sad to see unhoused suffering. Yeah, I mean, there's areas where it's like, okay, you can be unhoused depending on the weather, but some areas you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Honestly. Yeah, there you go. Last time I went to Hawaii, there was a huge homeless population. Some people decide to, that's the choice that they make. I don't know. I mean, what do you do? What do you do if people choose? There are people out there that choose to be homeless. Can't force people into a dwelling if you can't, You can't. You said Phoenix sends their homeless Hawaii to Texas. Well, Phoenix, what is it? Nevada, Los Angeles sends a lot of the people that can't make their bills, you know, and those like and many of them have mental health issues, they bust them all the way to Vegas, right? And a lot of this is where that shuffle started. That's why you got a lot of that's why you have like that's why the Baker Act is so prevalent in Florida, y'all. If you do a little history, I mean, talk about like the connections between the states and stuff like that's a real thing. My thing is that there's always money that drives everything, right? Is the true intention to actually help the person, or is it money driven? And let me tell you, like I said, I have mental health and addiction within my own family. And I don't think that we always have the answer to everything. But I also believe that completely stripping somebody of their rights, taking them away, especially when they haven't harmed another person, that's a whole different conversation that we're if it's somebody that's mentally ill and they're literally killing a bunch of people, then I got you. All right. They deserve, you know, not only to be held accountable, but also like, you know, a different look into mental health and how, what we do there. But we're talking about people that are out there that also are not committing crimes. They're not. So we have to be very careful about how we classify in a lot of these people. We are. Now this gets us into the conversation of Nick, right? And I think was it Kool-Aid who asked about the what the Baker Act is? So in Florida, this is in Florida, but there's other versions of it. So in Florida, they call it the Baker Act specifically. So the Baker Act is a involuntarily mental health crisis way of evaluating. It's a process that they use to evaluate a person under temporary detention. Some states call it a 72-hour hold. We've seen that. And some individuals who basically refuse help are basically thrown in there. The problem with the Baker Act, it's not so much the involuntary hold for 72 hours, is what they do afterwards. Some states and some professionals that are not licensed, that are not professionals in the field, that literally take 2 or 3 or 4 trainings to call themselves professionals, can label themselves, depending on the state, as professionals and misuse the Baker Act to truly harm people. You have a lot of institutions. Let me give you guys an example. The Scientology, these Scientology narcanons, they dress themselves like treatment institutions, but in reality, none of them are certified anything to actually give any kind of certified addictions counseling in any way. Every state has a different level of a Baker Act. Like my state has a 72-hour hold, you know, depending on the person, if they're self-harming or harming others, which to a certain degree, 72 hours, okay, you hold a person and you evaluate them, and sometimes it's voluntarily. But you have to be careful. Certain states are very careful about the fact that they don't just put in some person that just took a 2-day training to evaluate a person's severe mental health history. No, you put in the professionals that actually did the work in the field to understand what exactly is going on. But some states misuse that to truly harm those and institutionalize those. And that's what you have to be careful with. This is why I'm telling you, when y'all are pushing, we have to do this and that and the other. Make sure that the state that you're pushing it for and that you're voting, that they're actual professionals that know and understand who they're talking to, who they're contracting with. Where are these contracts coming from? Are they religious institutions? Are they state institutions? Where are they coming from? That's a bigger conversation. Okay. That's a whole different beast of a conversation. But again, every state has a different version of a 72-hour hold, but Florida happens to call it the Baker Act. Okay. Whew. All right. Y'all made me go into a different rabbit hole. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Let's get into Nick. So, and I think that this kind of aligns itself a bit, right? With all of this, because there's been conversations about conservatorships and stuff like that. Shout out to Julia. Julia was the one that actually, one of my beautiful, wonderful members who helped me a lot with the Liam Payne content and translating it from, you know, the Argentinian dialect, Spanish and everything over to English and Spanish so that I can understand it. So Julia's been a longtime member. She's also been a member of BJ's channel and a huge supporter. She actually sent me the articles about the shaping of the media in terms of the conservatorship, right? People have been saying that that there was supposed to be a conservatorship with Nick Reiner. And so then when I saw BJ talk about this on Twitter, I immediately had those screenshots and I tagged BJ on them. But the credit should truly go to Julia. And again, shout out to Julia. Anyway, so there's a lot of celebrities that are coming out, right? Everybody is coming out and talking about, well, we were really concerned. We were really, scared about the situation regarding Nick and everything. So Michael Douglas, it says, details conversation with Rob Reiner about son Nick Reiner's addiction struggles. Michael Douglas recalls talking with Rob Reiner about his son, Cameron Douglas, and Nick Reiner's respective struggles with addiction. Nick has been charged with Rob and Michelle Reiner's murders. No, I don't want E.T. So I guess Michael Douglas is another person who has come out. I mean, you have all these celebrities that are coming out, and he says this is a terrible tragedy, which I would expect a lot of people that he was close to. You have Billy Crystal, you have Larry, what is it? The guy from Seinfeld. Is it Larry Davis? Larry David, that's his name. People are coming out, and some of this, like Michael Douglas says here, we're realizing how much pressure he was dealing with in his personal life and with his son, the magnitude of it, right? And the years of substance. And then you have the narrative out there. Now, mind you, I have yet to see a professional mental health counselor or even a document out there. It's Larry David, thank you. Or even a mental has anybody seen a document that actually confirms that this man is schizophrenic? Has anybody seen anything? Or are we literally just TMZ said it, therefore it happened? Like, I'm just trying to understand. Has anybody seen? Because I'm telling you, you're not supposed to, right? Because that's where that HIPAA law. Did anybody from a treating professional? This is the part that muddies the water, all right? This is the part that muddies the water, that I feel like I'm sitting here and I'm just watching, and I haven't said a whole lot of comments on this because part of it is like, well, what are we doing here? He said, I think Alan Jackson put that, he didn't put it in there, or he did. I think Alan Jackson put that there. I haven't even heard Alan Jackson speak on his mental health. Let me see. Alan Jackson. Because this is what muddies the water for me, y'all. People are saying that he is going to plead insanity, but do we know that for a fact? We know, this is what the LA Times is saying. Now, I kind of, LA Times has been a little bit more on it because they actually had a source, that the way they reported it initially, and I used their source too to talk about, it wasn't the daughter that called 911. It was the friend that was with the daughter the day that they found the parents, okay? Because people were asking, who called 911? Who called 911? Well, now we got some details. Yeah, we do. Nick was prescribed schizophrenia medication before deaths of Rob and Michelle. This is what sources says. But the source, unless the source is a mental health professional, otherwise we really don't know. But it is unclear the name of the drug or how long he had been prescribed. There's several kinds of different drugs that people could take for schizophrenia. I can't even tell you all of them, honestly. There's a couple, though. Reiner, 32, was charged with 2 counts of murder on Tuesday. Okay, could face life. But I have yet to see anybody either directly connected to Nick, or like a family member or a mental health professional or Alan Jackson. Unless Alan Jackson said it publicly, someone had to start the telephone game. You said Alan Jackson is famous for dropping the narratives. You said he was diagnosed, and I've had people say that to me too. I've had people in my email say he was diagnosed, but we don't have anything directly, right? Here's my question. I've heard the same that y'all are hearing, but do we have anything directly confirming this information? And what I mean by that, do we have Alan Jackson, a direct quote? Do we have a medical professional speaking on it? Do we have the family speaking on the mental health diagnosis? Or are we just saying that he's taken based on a source? That's my question. Just hearsay at this point, sources, right? That's the problem that I have with that narrative. Because we've already painted a defense to a certain degree. We don't even know the details, what led up or what happened or anything, right? I don't take away from the fact that he probably went through a lot as a child. Y'all, we just saw Tylor, all these child, Hollywood actors or those that have a parent that, are in the business, they get neglected. They get all kinds of things are happening to them, right? Um, they're not the center of attention, or their focus isn't there because they got to grow their careers. And mind you, sure, a lot of it pays off. I mean, they're A-listers. They have money. They can afford 17, 20 rehab centers, right? They can afford all kinds of things. But we truly don't even know what the narrative is, and people have already painted it out. Now, I can believe that there might have been some mental health issues, because you have to be kidding me. If this man, if you're saying that he committed these murders and then he went to a gas station and got a drink and nobody noticed anything, or he seemed kind of fine, he wasn't distraught or anything, there's some disassociation there. There's something off. I can believe that. But what I'm not going to do, or at least in my opinion, I don't think people should be painted a defense already. I mean, not only are we painting a defense, we're already given a plea. We're already given a plea. People already know what the plea is. And this man, we're not even there yet in the case. That's the thing that I'm talking about. That I'm like, I side-eye this. It's no different than somebody saying they were trying to put him in a conservatorship. We're already painting the narrative there, and we don't even know. I could agree with this. Somebody who has schizophrenia, if that is the diagnosis, which we don't know, but if that is the diagnosis, different things are happening. Different things are happening. Have y'all ever watched a video? There's a lot of videos out there. Have you ever watched a video of when people are having an episode of schizophrenia? Put one in the chat if you understand what that looks like. And it really it scares me, because it's like, what's the word? To get out of that and to have all of this play out in your mind while you're trying to regulate a normal situation, say even a conversation with somebody, and to know that all of this, your mind is playing tricks. I mean, it is a horrible, brain disease. It really is. I'm going to see if I can pull something, because I've seen this before being played out in simulators, and it is truly it's scary. It's a scary thing. You've seen it before? No, I don't rely on ChatGPT. I have a family member who struggled with schizophrenia as well. It's a scary thing, and I've heard them speak about it. And the best way that I remember them describing it is just like having 100 things play out. Everybody has schizophrenia episodes a little bit different, right? Some of this stuff is just educational, right? So please note that. I don't know if y'all can hear the sound, because I can't. A schizophrenia episode. This I've seen play out, right? And I've seen stuff like this play out in a way in which, like, they're trying their best. And sometimes it's like they're trying to like make sense of reality. Are you really talking to me? Are you, doing all kinds of things? Hearing voices is vivid. Us listening to you, Rabbit, just like that. And just imagine not being able to turn that off. And then imagine it just kind of consistently coming together. It's a very real thing. Yeah, you said I have a son with schizophrenia also. Oh my goodness. It's a lifelong thing. And please know that the best way to treat this is to have community next to you, because you do need to have people around you that completely understand what this looks like for you when you're in an episode. So I truly feel for people that struggle with this, and note that some of this starts in your later 20s, or, kind of like right around early 20s. That's when you start seeing some of these episodes. That's why a lot of college students, you start seeing it there, that they start seeing some of this stuff. But it's a real thing, and it's a scary thing to witness, honestly, when you're trying to help somebody. And the level of trust, and then also knowing that you as a person, as a loved one, you don't want them to harm you, but you also don't want them to harm others. So it's a real thing. Now imagine you add the factors of drugs in there. You add the factors of other things. So it's a huge gamble. It's literally you're playing Russian roulette with this situation. So I tell you guys, it's like, if this man was truly struggling with this, and even though they're saying, well, it could be schizophrenia meds, I don't know. They use medication in psychiatry. Medication that's meant to treat one thing can be used for another. That's why I'm like, well, are you sure that it's schizophrenia? Do we have a source that actually says that this is what it is? We have to be very careful. And not only that, schizophrenia has a huge stigma in the community. people that hear schizophrenia don't really know what that is and immediately think that it's oh my God, it's completely dark. It's this. Yes, it's a horrible, brain disease and stuff like that. But when you have the right sources and the right resources in place, you can actually really be okay and successful and treat it. And there's going to be episodes, because it does happen, where you kind of go back and you're like, all right, I got to get back on track. These meds aren't working. I got to go get reevaluated. Your brain is a magical thing. It does different things. Yes. But there are people out there that have been able to live with this and that do very well. As long as you have a really good support community circle next to you, people can actually make it work. Okay. Believe it or not, people that are there for you and are not there to exploit you. Now, imagine this. If you're a celebrity and you're a child of a celebrity and you got money, or people think that you have money and you have proximity and access to sources, you're definitely going to be a target for someone. Okay? So something to keep in mind. Yeah. And then if you mix the rugs, it's even worse. Absolutely. Many with schizophrenia start exhibiting early signs outside of hearing voices. You're right. And psychosis when younger, often self-medicated with rugs. Schizophrenia runs in my family, side of the family. Yeah. You start seeing a couple things here and there, and that's why, but a lot of it full blown is like later in life, usually in your college years. But it's a scary thing. I've seen it happen. I've seen a couple people, and if you don't get it under control, it could really take over your life. It doesn't have to, but it can. Now, let me just say this. People have said, of course, in Reiner's circle that he struggled with addiction for years, which he's also publicly spoken about it. So I'm not putting words in his mouth. He's talked about it. As a teenager, he said he said in an interview he became addicted to heroin, cycling in and out of rehabilitation centers and experiencing bouts of homelessness. So he had a lot of access to drugs. Heroin is a hard drug, right? As a teenager, he had access to heroin. It's a hard drug to have access to. Well, first of all, just in general, like who were you with proximity wise that you had access to that, right? Hollywood's got a lot of weird people, but it does make you wonder, well, Rob and Michelle had all this money to put this young man into, treatment centers, but he still a teenager had access to heroin. I can't tell you. I mean, I was around a lot of stuff growing up, but heroin was not a drug. And let me just say, I probably had a lot of access to different drugs and whatnot, but heroin was not one of them. That's a very interesting drug to have access to as a teenager. Who did he get it from? The other question that I have, did addiction run in the family? I mean, do we know if they also experimented with anything? We don't know what Rob and Michelle's life was like too, right? We don't. That's why I am like, okay, that's interesting. Not a lot of kids that I know. And for me, I was around a lot of different things, but heroin was not one of them. Not like that. No, not at all. You said, yes, I can agree with that. A Kool-Aid, definitely. You said, once I started heroin, I immediately knew it was too deep and went to rehab almost a week later after that. It is bad. Yes. Right. You said, right. Brian Koberger, heroin. Access to heroin. You said they could get it to school in Hollywood. It's interesting. I never really like I said, I've been around a lot of stuff. I can tell you different stories. Maybe even by self doing different things and whatnot. But heroin was not one of them. And maybe it's because I saw it as a dirty type of substance. Maybe it's just me because it just gets you, right? Heroin is now just fent, like the new fentanyl, right? Definitely. Okay. So, and it further goes, it is unclear what role medication and its drug challenges will play in this case. We don't know. People are speculating that it's an insanity plea. We don't know, y'all. We don't know. We haven't even gotten to that point, right? But we've already given a plea. I was like, well, I don't think this is what I speculated. I don't think this is going to go to trial. I think it's just going to, if he's able to make a plea where he is, if it's mental health, he's able to be institutionalized in a way in which he's like mandatory treatment and he's not able to access the outside world, like life, kind of like that situation. I could see that being a thing because I know California will do something like that. But yeah, we don't know. He hasn't said anything. What we do know is that he has his attorney. And how did he pay for that? We don't know as well. People have speculated. Who knows? Authorities have have offered few specifics, authorities have offered few specifics, including an alleged motive in the killings. We don't know. Nathan, Houchman, the DA, is very tight-lipped about everything. So remember, a massage therapist arrived at the couple's home. This is what happened, and this is why the 911 call, people are saying, well, they're going to release it. Was it the daughter? No, it wasn't the daughter who called 911. It was a massage therapist that arrived at a couple's home, and upon receiving no answer, she called Romy, and who lived nearby. And then she discovered the scene and had a friend call 911. So Romy did discover her parents. Now, people have said, this is what was speculated, and I forgot who put that out there, that there was a dying declaration, and that never happened. Dying declaration never happened. Nope. But that was speculated. There was speculation that it sounds like they had been dead for a couple hours. It does make me wonder if they went to the party, he got upset, if he did this crime, he allegedly murdered them that night, and then they were dead for a couple hours after that, and that's what happened. Nobody checked in on the parents because, who's going to, they all live together. If he was living in the pool house, no one's really going to think of anything at this point. So yeah, like, I do wonder. You said he wasn't insane enough to go to a hotel and clean. There you go. And this is why I say we have to be careful about we don't know if this is schizophrenia. We don't. We say we do. We say because he's taking these kinds of medication, but please know, different medications, you can take different medications to treat other ailments. Nobody noticed any blood at the gas station. He went to a hotel room to clean up. On a podcast, he was the one, he said he faked in rehab, so he would give him meds if he refused. Y'all see what I'm saying? It's like we don't know what that diagnosis looks like, but we've already given this situationship a jacket. It's already there. We've already figured it out, right? I struggle with this one, y'all, but I think that we just have to wait for more information to come. And honestly, it's not going to come until next year, earlier, in a couple weeks. But different things. I just say we wait, even though somebody's taking medication, even though somebody's taking different things, we just don't know what could be. You could also have schizophrenia still, and isn't the cause of your actions. Exactly. So we don't know. True. And like I said, this is the other thing. True psychosis, somebody who's completely disoriented or out of touch, there's no premeditation to something. So it does make you wonder. He cleaned up, he went to a hotel, all of that is premeditation. Psychosis is just a completely out of sorts, so much to the point that you don't even know what you did. You just, you don't know what you did. So yeah, that's why I say be careful how we're putting that narrative out there. I'm not believing everything quite yet. Even the schizophrenia, I could believe that he had a lot of stuff going on. I just don't know if that's a true diagnosis. Disorganized thinking. Absolutely. Exactly. Thank you. You said, and we would never leave our kids, but most did. And you never know what they will be exposed to backstage, period. Exactly. Yo, I have to tell you guys something. I really do. We're going to move on, but I have to tell you guys something. And we will continue the conversation about Nick, I promise. But I have to tell y'all something. Can you tell me why? Seems like everybody's scrambling. The White House is scrambling. Everybody's scrambling, except, shout out to the victims that have given statements, the Epstein victims, okay? But the people are scrambling. They are worried. They are scared about, people being mentioned and whatnot. Like, in my life, I read this morning. The U.S. Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false. And if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein victims. You know what? Let me say this, y'all. I don't understand. I don't need the White House to give a disclaimer about what we about to see or how I should think or what. Like, what were their what was the thought process behind this? Just release the files because you're legally required to, right? Like, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Not even so much morally, because God forbid anybody got any morals in this situation. God forbid that anybody have any morals, and then excuse a bunch of shit. You allow the American people to figure out what they feel like this is, whether you agree with it or not. Like I said, y'all, I don't praise some of these people. I really don't care. Whether it's the Pope or Trump or whoever it is, I do not care, but I don't need the Department of Justice to give me a disclaimer about how I should interpret some of this. Like, what was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
I don't need to explain myself to you. And
What was the reason?
What was the reason, bitch? Like, literally, let me tell y'all something. Let's go back a little bit from the beginning. What those, it's nothing's in the files. Nothing's in the files. There is, like, literally, Kash Patel looked like he was scared straight. You know, he's had this face since, like, his picture with the like, for whatever reason. You see Kash Patel, and I still remember him you know, when he was being interviewed and asked about these pictures. This man has not changed. This is what he looked like when he was being asked about the damn files. He's got this look on him, and I'm like, well, maybe it's just, you know, the angle of what or whatever. And it's like, your eyes say it all, my friend. There's nothing in the files. It's all speculation. There's nothing in the files. It's all speculation. My eyes hurt. My eyes hurt. Nothing in the files. Nothing to see. Nothing to see. This is the kind of shit that they played in the year. Just release it and allow the American people to digest what they need to digest. And let them make whatever they want to make. I mean, I do wonder if he sleeps with his eyes open. You know, anyways, let me stop. That could be a medical condition. Welcome everybody. Regardless, I'm just saying, I don't care. But they felt like they needed to give a PR statement. And the reality is this: you allow the American people to think for themselves. Let the American people think for themselves. You're always going to have people that either believe or don't or support whatever it is. I don't care. Okay. I don't praise any of these people. This is why I tell you, it's all very culty to me. Don't try to tell me what something, how I'm supposed to interpret something when people here have a mind of their own and they're independent thinkers and they're smart and they're able to dissect how this information looks like. I don't need anybody to do it for me. I don't need the White House to give me an excuse. Okay. That's how I see that. But let me just say this. You do have the victims that are giving statements. Survivors of abuse by Epstein and Maxwell call out the Justice Department's failure to comply with transparency law. Some of these victims are speaking out because some of the information it just hasn't been redacted the way that, you know, they said was going to be redacted. You have people that are on the fence about this. So this is a statement that they released yesterday. The Epstein Files Transparency Act imposed on December 19, 2025 deadline for the United States Department of Justice to release its full records of the investigation of Epstein and his accomplices and enablers with specific narrow exceptions, such as the survivors' identities. I feel like the reason they did such a sloppy job is so people can go and attack them and their credibility. That's why I think it is. That's honestly, because how could you were asking the Department of Justice to deem or to identify or to look at people as victims, and yet we're getting shitty ass statements about how we should see other people that have been mentioned and how they're not really, anything that's coming out of this side of the files. There's 30,000, and there might be more. These 25,000 that mention the president, that's not credible. Those are false. That's not credible. Okay, so what are we doing? They're quick to tell us that, but they can't redact people's information. And these are the victims. Some of these victims were minors. Some of these victims weren't even for the release of some of this information. Yo, this is insane. The partial release was done in a manner that made it difficult or impossible for survivors to find material that would be most relevant to our search for accountability. Do some of these people even have files and information, pertaining to their cases? I don't even know. Even that sentence makes me wonder if they have everything. There's been no guidance for survivors on how to locate material. Look at this shit pertaining to our own cases, nor have we've been provided with copies of our own files despite repeated requests. Look at this. People get fired over this stuff. But we don't have the decency to do this. Now, you got the DOJ making a statement about how we should interpret the information. You know what? I don't got a chip on me. There is no 666 over here. This is no mark of the beast over here. I'm going to do what I got to do and think about it the way that I need to think about it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are going to do the same. There has been no communication with survivors or our representatives as to what was withheld from release or why hundreds of thousands of documents have not been disclosed by legal deadline, or how the DOJ will ensure that no more victims' names will be wrongfully disclosed. Look at this. I refuse. I refuse. Oh, yes, I saw that too. I saw that too. The doctor, the gymnast doctor. Yeah. I'm just saying. So you know what? Y'all interpret the information how you want. Whether you feel like there's no wrongdoing, that is up to you. That is, Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar, that's his name. That is up to you. I'm not here to tell you otherwise, just like I wouldn't tell you who to vote for. Y'all do what you want to do with that information. But it's so weird to me that the DOJ is going to make a cute little statement. And then you have these victims that are saying, y'all didn't even do right by this. People need to get fired for this too. Okay? Just saying. We would hold people accountable for releasing information that shouldn't be released on a medical level, right? Here's these people. They don't even know how to act around classified information. They don't. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. We don't need a cover page. We don't need an Dear Susie, Dear Rabbit, Dear, public. We don't need that. Just release what needs to be released. And like I said, as my title says, the White House and the people, they're scrambling. They're shaken by this. Because initially they tried to shape the narrative earlier in the year. Are you guys still talking about this? We don't need, who's talking? There's nothing to see here. You had a Kash Patel with his eyes. There's nothing to see here. Pam over here with her, they're on my desk. God knows which desk that we're talking about, but they're there. No. Moving on. Okay. Y'all, let me know what you guys think in the comments about it. I know it's a lot. It's harsh. But I believe that we, the people here, can handle information the way we want to. And we don't need to tell people how to handle it. We don't need to, give a little, what is it called? A memo of disclosure, a guidance of how we should see things. No, you let the people figure that out. It's not your job to tell us how to think or what to do, how to breathe, what to eat. No, we already have people trying to tell us, how to control, using celebrities to push an agenda. I'm good on that. Thank you. I don't work for you and y'all don't work for me. Okay. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it kicking. We have another thing. Yo, oh my gosh. Let me tell you guys. All right. I just sent this to myself. Why didn't it go to myself? Sorry about that. Hurry up. I accept it. Hurry up. Here we go. This, my friends, is insane. This is insane that I have to tell you about this case. Now, shout out to the person that emailed me yesterday and said, Rabbit, have you been paying attention to this situation with the Clovis murders? The Clovis murders, parent murders. You have two teenagers, very young, man. I'm looking at these mug shots and I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Now, I do have their court paperwork. Okay. Now, hold up. Let me make sure that I didn't even look at the chat. Are y'all ready to transition? Are you guys good? Let me know. Are you guys ready to transition? I can't wait to learn the complete story after me and all the victims and even the victims' children have passed. Ain't that some ish? We got to wait 60 years before we really, truly know the full story. And you know what? Will we ever? This is some ish right here. Remember, we always release files after people have died and the people around those people have died, and many people, and we unclassified them when it's never right now. It's never this. There's always all this red tape, okay? But it's interesting how certain things just don't have that red tape. Only certain things that will expose other people. You are so right about that. You are so right about that. Okay? Somebody messaged me. Shout out to, I don't want to say their name, but they messaged me and they said, listen, there's this case happening. Clovis, right? Pretrial detention hearing for teen accused of helping friend to kill his parents. Okay. Horrible, horrible situation, right? Because we don't ever want to, just the idea. But again, this is a thing that's happening. And I'm just wondering, for me, I have a bad taste in my mouth after Gypsy Rose and whatnot. I mean, I think a lot of us do. So here you have teen accused of hiring friend to get parents out of the picture so he could claim inheritance. We're killing our parents for inheritance. Yo, let me just tell you, I don't got that kind of money. So, sorry, kids. I don't got that kind of money. So and even if I did, I would never say it or even talk about an inheritance. Literally. Little baby Jesus. I'm like, whoo, what? Darren. Now he's 19, an adult, but still a teenager under that guides, but an adult. He is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and criminal solicitation in connection with the deaths of his father, Oscar, and stepmother, Dina. Now, police responded to to a call about a burglary in progress in home in Clovis on December 15th and found the couple shot in their bedroom. Investigators said in an arrest affidavit or arrest warrant that the suspect believes per his romantic partner, had been that Oscar owned a convenience store franchise, and that if he was dead, the money would end up with his son. So what? A New Mexico teenager is accused of hiring a friend to kill his father and a stepmother so that he could claim his inheritance per the affidavit. We have the affidavit, by the way. 19 years old. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and criminal solicitation. Okay, we know this. So Oscar's 58 and his stepmother, 71, Dina. Now, Julio Zamora, 18, so 19 and 18, both adults, is also charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder, the police said. Police responded to a call about a burglary. We read that part. When officers arrived, they found a garage door open. Munoz allegedly told officers that everything had been fine there, according to an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by People. When one of the officers said he planned to check on Munoz's parents, Munoz allegedly told the officers he didn't want him to go inside because his parents slept in the nude. Munoz eventually led the officers inside, and Munoz went into their room per the affidavit. When he came back out of the room, his hands were allegedly covered in blood. Lord have mercy. The officers then entered the room and found Munoz's father and stepmother shot. The affidavit says Oscar was still showing signs of life, although he had suffered a gunshot wound to the head. Dina was pronounced dead at the scene. Munoz allegedly told investigators that his parents spent the weekend in San Antonio for their anniversary, and he stayed home alone, according to the affidavit. He said that he went to his parents, that when his parents returned, they had brought home food, and he went to bed around 9 to 10 p.m. before he woke up hours later after hearing the garage door slam. He would then lie to investigators about whether he called 911 or not. This is what the affidavit states. Oh my gosh. Like horrible. We have an affidavit. Okay. We have an affidavit. Yes, we do, my friends. So you killed your parents because you thought that you were going to inherit some convenience store money. It's giving, this one is giving Menendez, okay? This one's giving Menendez, all right? I mean, other than just the one sibling and, the hiring of a friend and whatnot, but this is definitely, I will give you that. It's definitely giving Menendez, all right? So this is the affidavit. Now, he is charged with, this is Darren Munoz, okay? New Mexico, Clovis, New Mexico. 1 count of murder, 1st-degree felony, conspiracy to commit murder, 2nd-degree felony, murder, 1 degree felony, criminal solicitation to commit murder. Okay, so this is on December the 15th, literally a couple days ago. Yeah, like last Monday. Oh my God. So they went to the address regarding a potential burglary in progress. Upon arrival, Officer Smith found the garage door open of their home and made contact with the caller, Darren Munoz. They're either in the garage or in front of the residence. Darren gave a story to Officer Smith, indicating everything had been fine. When Officer Smith indicated he should also check on Darren's parents, who were also inside, Darren made a comment of how he didn't really want Officer Smith to go inside because his parents slept naked, but then led Officer Smith inside anyways. Officer Smith said Darren had gone into the garage, into his parents' room, while Officer Smith waited for him to return. When Officer Smith saw Darren again emerge from the bedroom, Darren's hands were now covered in his blood. So the officer went in there thinking this is a what is it called? A burglary. I make myself smaller. In progress, and then there was blood on his hands. This is crazy. Y'all do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Support the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, please, please. Please, please, please hit the like button. They would really appreciate it, guys. He said, I don't know which was more disturbing, the children taking the life of the parents or the children who can convince other people to help taking the lives, because that means nobody had ethics and accountability in DNA. Yeah, there you go. Something happened here, honestly. Dumb and misguided. So then he goes in there and he comes out with blood on his hands. All of this is just horrific in general. Money motivated here too. So Smith and other responding officers went into the room and discovered a man and a woman shot in their rooms. The man was Darren's father and the woman was Darren's stepmother. Oscar Munoz was still showing signs of life, although he had suffered a gunshot wound to the head. Dina Munoz was deceased in her bed. Oscar, let me check. Hold up real quick just to make sure I'm right on time. Okay, good. Oscar had been rushed to the hospital in Clovis for medical care, and Darren had been detained for questioning. Darren would state in his interview he had spent the weekend by himself at the family home, and his parents had been out of town for their anniversary in San Antonio. When they arrived home, Darren had said his parents had bought food and he had gone to his room and been in his bed between 9 to 10 p.m. or 9 and 10. It doesn't say p.m. It just says 9 and 10. Darren said that he woke up when he heard the alarm to the garage door on the home security system. He would then lie to investigators about whether he called 911 or not. However, 911 call logs would indicate Darren had called, and and when confronted with his information, Darren admitted he did in fact call 911 reporting the burglary. When confronted about not wanting to have officers to go inside Darren confusion, acting as though he didn't know what was going on. He says, hold up, it made no sense that Darren would hear the garage door alarm go off, but not hear gunshots down the hall from him. Also, the alarm panel Darren stated that he heard was in the garage itself on the opposite side of the residence. Investigators could not hear the alarm the same way Darren describes. Also, Darren's parents' room was even further away from the garage door, and the only access was walking past his own room. So for Darren to have heard the garage door alarm, he would have had to been awake when the shooting occurred. I don't know how gunshot wounds don't, or a gunshots would wake me up. Gunshots are like, from a gunshot, they are so freaking loud, right? Like, they're so loud. How do you not hear them? Honestly, that's crazy work. I don't know how you, like, right there, that would be the biggest red flags. I mean, I hear them from far away. Hear them up close would totally wake me up. That would wake me up out of my sleep being scared, because you don't ever forget that sound. And sometimes people go even deaf after hearing it because it's just so loud. So Darren heard the alarm, the garage door alarm. And he would have been able to wake up when the shooting occurred. There was no signs of forced entry to any other door, window, or entry panel. There were no items missing from the home either, which would indicate a burglary happened. In Darren's interview, he also indicated that he was dating a young woman named Gabriela Dominguez. He indicated that they had been spending a significant amount of time together, enough that he had hickeys on his neck from Gabriela. Witnesses had seen a young woman at the address over the weekend while the victim had been out of town for their anniversary. Investigators went to Gabriela Dominguez's home and found her there. She was brought to the Clovis Police Department for the interview. Gabriela indicated that she had spent the entire weekend at the victim's house with Darren before leaving Sunday morning to go back home. While Rodriguez was being interviewed, another acquaintance of Darren, Gabriela Breda Regaldo, called the sergeant with the Clovis Police Department and told Sergeant there had been a plan in place for several weeks or months between Darren and two of his friends, Vincent and Julio, to kill Darren's parents. Darren wanted to take over the parents' belongings / finances, and this was how they would do it. Breda indicated that there had been a plan for Darren to trade an AR rifle for a ghost Glock or a pistol without a serial number. Breda had also seen Darren publicly at another person's house. The gun had been shown in Darren's wristband, and the owner of the home had been uncomfortable with Darren being there with the gun. While watching the additional footage from the home security camera, Darren can be seen hiding a pistol from his wristband before exiting the car. Oh my God. This video was at roughly 5 p.m. the night before the homicide took place. Gabriela also corroborated the statement. So Darren is confirmed to have possession of the gun with hours of the shooting. Oh my God. So they all coordinated this thing. Literally, like, what? They coordinated this thing. They did all this thing to have their parents, Kate, his parents, Kate. Wow. Oh my God, Sarah, thank you so much for super chat. Thank you. Why would anyone need to call 911? It doesn't. And those that should, okay, why everyone who needs to call 911 doesn't? Gotcha. And those that should do, right? There you go. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Thank you, guys. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, please. And thank you. I really, really do appreciate it. Okay, let's keep going because I think we're at the end of this narrative. Like, what? Yeah, they're like literally. This is a crazy case, but okay. So Darren had wanted his father's money, and Julio. Okay, it further goes. Gabriela would later give a full account of what she knew and stated the following. Darren had wanted his father's money, and Julio had agreed to kill Darren's parents in exchange for the money when Darren got some. The belief had been that Darren's father owned the All Sups convenient? Or All Ups. Oh, it's one word. All Ups. 2 words. All Ups convenience store franchise. Anybody from New Mexico that knows this? All Ups convenience store franchise. And that if he was dead, the money would come to Darren. Gabriela said that she was there the day all four had gone to Burns Do It Center in Clovis, and Julio had gone inside to purchase a 9mm ammunition specifically to commit the homicide. Now, Gabriela, why didn't you say anything before the murders? Girl, you are right over here. Like, I'm glad that she spoke. Don't get me wrong, but why didn't she say anything before the murders? It's all up because I was going to say all sups. Like all sups, or it's all's ups. Thank you, Betty. Shout out to Betty. Betty, was it you that messaged me, that told me about this? There was a person that messaged me and told me about this. Shout out to you, though. It's like a Save-A-Lot. I mean, I didn't know you could buy guns at these. Well, anyways, I don't know. I'm not from the area. So apparently they went there and then they purchased a 9mm with ammunition at the Burns Do It Center in Clovis, a 9mm specifically to commit the homicide. Now, Gabriela, why didn't you say anything? That's my question. Gabriela said Julio had returned with the ammunition they had left. Gabriela also knew that the plan had been for Julio to come to Darren's house, come in through the garage, and then shoot Darren's parents in their bed. Oh, my God. Breda had also said in the interview there have been talks of cutting Darren's parents' father's brakes, and he would die because he was fat. Oh, what? Girl, what? You said lock her up too? Wait, like they were like, well, just cut his brakes because he's fat. Yeah, don't ever tell your kids. I'm not saying that this could happen. I mean, it could happen to anybody, but don't tell your kids if there's an inheritance. Don't tell them anything. Don't do that because this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like you just never know. You know, it's not even so much about your kids, but like then they could also tell, their friends. Like you just never know. What is going on here? This young population, man. Like what is going on? He said, like what? He said Darren's father's brakes and he would die because he was fat, that Vincent would go in and do a silent death, or someone would shoot Oscar and Dina. While executing a search warrant at Darren's phone, a conversation thread was found between Darren and Julio. Darren advised Julio his parents were not home yet, but they were on their way that night. Darren also told Julio his parents would let him know when they were on their way and that he would relay this info to Julio. There were additional messages, which are video snaps. After this, as well as indicating Darren had followed through with his promise. Breda said that she had received a FaceTime call from Gabriela the morning of December the 15th. Around 9 a.m., Gabriela had seen the reports on the news and told Breda Darren had done it, meaning that the plan had been carried out. So at this point, law enforcement had found there was a plot to murder Oscar Munoz and Dina Munoz. The reason for the murder was motivated by money. Darren believed that they would inherit a large sums of money if his father and stepmother were out of the picture. Darren had made a plan with Julio Zamora and Vincent. So there's three. So there's the son and the two other friends, and Vincent Corrado. Julio had agreed to carry out the shooting, and Vincent had direct knowledge of the plan, stating he would carry it out if Julio didn't. Well, what about Gabriela? Because she seemed like she knew months. She said it was months to weeks. Darren had possession of a firearm in public recently and was seen on camera at his home with a pistol hours before the shooting. Darren had told Julio his parents were on the way home and said that he would be home that night. Darren was waiting for the shooter at his home with the garage door open at 4:42 a.m. on December the 15th, 2025. The shooter then racks the gun and opens the garage door, went inside and shot Darren's parents while they slept in their bed. Darren then called 911, gave a false report of a burglary to cover the crimes while the shooter ran from the residence. Julio Zamora was later apprehended on December the 15th, 2025, as he was leaving his home with a black and gold 9mm. Is it palm? I can't say that. Anyways, it's a 80 Glock style, which is also known as a ghost gun. Polymer 80 Glock style ghost gun. Wow. So he was able to get, I thought aren't those against the law? No, I guess the defaced ones are. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know too much about guns. Julio also admitted to his interview after waiving his Miranda warning. Darren had asked and solicited him to kill Darren's parents. Julio also admitted the weapon found in his possession was in fact the same weapon he used to kill Oscar and Dina. Investigators have been notified. Oscar Munoz has passed away from his injuries as well. Oh my God. So on the evidence and testimony, Darren is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit 1-degree murder, solicitation to commit 1-degree murder or first-degree murder, and there's that. And this is Darren. Now, this is the arrest affidavit, which is no different than this is Julio. So the other co-conspirator. Okay. All of this kind of supports that. That is a crazy case that is happening out of New Mexico. Money is the root of all evil. Honestly. Yeah, let's see. My parents were more important than any amount of money. Absolutely. Is it all sups? Like what's up? Only it's all sups. Thank you, Cherry. All sups. Let's see. Even if you have money, put your money in your trust where nobody has access to it except the board of executors under restrictions. And even if you die, any beneficiary gets chunks over time. That's right. Yeah, I don't agree with, yeah, I agree. Don't flaunt what you have. Don't ever do that. I've never been, but it is what it is. I can actually believe that people have these kinds of sick conversations. Yuck. How's this normal behavior, right? I can't sit. Let me tell y'all something. Nobody better tell me about a murder and think that I'm not going to say nothing. Thank you. Ghosts are just guns that have no serials, untraceables. That's different than a defaced gun, right? A defaced gun would be, it has a serial number, but it's been removed, right? Shut up. No way. Finally? Hold up. Linda, let me see. Do we need to start a new live on this one? Get out of here. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm going to end this right now because we're going to jump on Ashley Buzzard immediately, expeditiously, right now. Let me set it up right now. Oh, my God. What? Finally. Into custody over what? Like a real thing? Or are we just like, oh, she did this or that, the other? Like, really? Let me go do this right now. Let's go do this right now. We are going live right now. Again, I have to do another one, guys. Let me create this live stream. Okay, everybody, meet me right now. The live stream has been created. I'll see you guys. We're jumping on to the next live stream. I'll see you in a little bit. Let's go. Hit the like button here. Bye, guys.